The story is almost over. She can taste it. It's like acid, like bile rising in the back of her throat. And no matter how long she stares, how deep she projects her consciousness into the vast unknowable ocean on the other side of the veil, she can't get rid of it. She can't rid herself of the sensation that everything she's done has been for nothing, that all her attempts to defy destiny were swinging a sword at a sunrise. She thinks, bitterly, that if they were so desperate to stop her, perhaps they shouldn't have let her become inevitable. They knew what it would do to her. They knew what it would do to anyone, and they sat by and they let it happen. Bashaba, I'm so sorry. Some things, once broken, cannot be fit together again. There's only one way this can end now, and it is ending. Her hands form fists, impotent rage balled against the very edge of reality as she knows it. I can hear you. Nyla, you open your eyes. And you are in a shitty motel room. It's almost like all of those times you got blasted drunk back in Baldur's Gate and woke up someplace you didn't recognize. Except it's not like that at all, because you feel profoundly different. Your entire body feels... It's sort of humming with unfamiliar magic. And the first thing that pops into your field of vision is Escher, who looks down over you like, "Hey, you with me?"
I'm sorry, where am I?
Nyla! Suddenly there is a very large body throwing itself on top of you and hugging you way too tightly. Like, entirely way too tightly.
Does it hurt, like, a lot?
Not a lot, but it is not comfortable.
Okay, excellent.
It's so not comfortable that it takes you a minute to realize who it is.
I think I'm just sort of like making like discomfort, like, okay, well that's great. Could you, stranger, if you could just maybe
I missed you so much. It's been so long. I missed you. Are you okay? Do you remember anything? He's barely making sense. He pulls back and it's Salvador, but he's like wintry, like he's in his winter Galadrin form, which is a little weird. And he's got ugly tears streaming down his face.
Sal? Oh, Sal.
He hugs you really tightly again.
I like hug him back, but then I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of snot on me right now. I miss you so much. I missed you guys too. I could see what you were doing. Oh, we gotta have some words later, but wait, am I back?
You're back. I promise you're back. You're back.
She told me I was gonna be back soon.
Who told you what? He's like really loud sniffling. He sits up and he like wipes his nose on his hand. He's ugly. He's not a pretty crier. But you sit up. You are in a shitty. Yeah, it's a shitty inn. Behind you.
How bad do I feel?
Actually, True Resurrection, you feel kind of sprightly. Like, you feel okay.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Like, if it were any of, like, because True Resurrection is a 9th level spell and it requires such an enormous reagent, like, it's the only resurrection spell that wakes you up feeling kind of okay.
Okay. I think I look at Sal and I'm like, this is the weirdest hangover I've ever had.
He's like, what do you remember? What's the last thing you remember? The only other people in the room is Salvador, Escher, and Ember, who's off in the corner like, yeah, I've done this before. Like, familiar.
So, does she remember everything?
She remembers as much as you want her to remember. About the afterlife, I assume she has a pretty clear memory because you had access to the Mirror of the Wilds.
Yes.
And the core rule book is a little bit vague about resurrection. They give you an easy out no matter how much you want to remember. Like they say, some people don't remember anything when they're resurrected. Some people remember way too much. I will leave it up to you on how much Nyla knows.
Great. Too much. Excellent.
Way too much. Cool.
Yeah, way too much. Like, gonna have existential nightmares later. She looks at Sal and she goes, there was a unicorn who took care of me Well, sort of. I mean, she sort of put me in this lovely little fairyland. Honestly, it was kind of my idea of hell, because, like, there were no cities, and I could steal absolutely nothing. But there were lots of cute animals. Oh, wait, have you seen my cute animal? And she pulls out...
Sounds like, Nella, are you okay?
Nope. Yeah, she's definitely, like, babbling. Like, just, like, waiting.
Like, Escher, you did it wrong. You brought her back wrong. It's like, I was in a forest, and there were magical animals. Look at this statue of a fox I have!
I'm like,
I stole it from my Leaky.
I'm like putting it up in his face. I'm like, do you see it? Do you see the fox? Oh my god, it's so cute. Isn't it cute? Say it's cute.
Nyla, are you okay? You've been dead for almost 2 months now. Do you not remember?
Has it been 2 months? Oh god, I didn't know how long it was.
I missed you a lot.
I missed you too. I saw you through the mirror though.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a mirror that I could use, and I could see what everybody was doing.
Okay. That does not clear things up for him.
Honestly, this is about exactly what I would expect if someone was trying to describe the afterlife to someone else.
Yeah, that's just pretty much exactly how it would go down, yeah.
Yeah, you know the mirror that you looked... Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That she's like slowly realizing. Well, I'm so glad to be back. I missed you so much, and she gives him a huge hug.
He hugs you back, of course. He says, "A lot's happened, Nyla. You've missed some pretty bad shit."
No, I mean, I think I know a lot about I told you the mirror.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I do not know how many times I need to say that.
Well, okay. Anyways, I know. Here, just correct me if I'm wrong. There's some sort of giant army that we have to fight.
Yeah.
We've raised a giant army. I guess I don't know the part. Yeah. There's you guys went up to that place in the cold winter thing, and then you went batshit crazy.
I wouldn't say batshit crazy.
Oh, I would. I would say batshit crazy.
I would not say. Listen.
I'm sure you wouldn't say batshit crazy, but objectively speaking, from heaven, it was batshit crazy. Well, it wasn't really heaven.
Guitar from somewhere. Objection.
We're gonna have words about that, Mister. I mean, I'm really happy to see you. Don't get me wrong. I missed you so much. You know what? I do have one question though.
Yeah.
How did I die?
Oh boy. Okay. So
I don't remember that. I just remember I was on Baphomet, and then I was waking up in a weird... Oh god, I won't think about that. Anyway.
Like, as you were having this really heartfelt conversation, Escher is in the back is like, "Hey, do you want to fucking get super drunk, babe?"
Hell yes.
And then they both just leave.
Yeah.
Like, no explanation, they just fuck off.
My god.
Salvador sits on the edge of the bed. He says, "Okay, well, this might be kind of a bad story, but, you deserve to know it, because it is how you died, and that's kind of important. So, remember the night staff?"
Oh, she fucking didn't.
Yeah, she did.
God damn. I kept sitting there. I was like, what could possibly... Like, I was there, and then I wasn't there, and I don't know what happened in between.
The thing is, she did exempt you from the effects, but it was sort of like a nuclear bomb going off in the middle of a castle. And good news, there's a 400-foot drop in the middle of the Lichtion now. Bad news, your corpse is somewhere in that 400-foot drop, probably. But, back to the good news, you're fine. It's all fine. And he says, and everyone is very upset and scared and sad, and it's just a real bad time. We've been having a real bad time, and I don't want to draw too much of a correlation, but the times got a whole lot better after you died. That's all I'm saying. So maybe in the future, avoid that.
Death. Avoid death.
Avoid
yeah,
death,
no,
yeah.
That is
Just
100%
just
the
don't
plan.
die. Live forever.
Well, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Of deaths, as far as deaths have to go, I think it was probably pretty good. Where is everybody?
Oh, well, Selwyn and Ariazis and Qatar and Drist Orden is with us now, by the way.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
what?
Drist Orden is with us now?
The Drow.
The very famous, the very famous hero.
How?
We just kind of found him. We just went into a bar and he was there.
That explains. There was a person in the party I kept seeing, and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he's super cool. I think Qatar kind of has a crush on him, which is And he just doesn't finish the sentence. He's like, anyway,
Which is what?
it sure is.
We're gonna talk about. We have a lot to catch up on, friend.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a super whole lot of time to do it because I'm gonna die like probably in less than a week. So there's that.
We're gonna find a way around that, buddy.
Okay, well, if you come up with anything, let me know because we've been thinking on that for a while.
I can't. I just came back. You can't. No, we're not trading places.
Says, well, like I said, you come up with any clever ideas, let me know. I've been kind of trying to make my peace with it for the past 3 months, so...
That's why you've been so batshit crazy. Oh, Sal. She gives him, like, a huge hug.
Okay, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's totally fine. I'm gonna die. Apparently it doesn't hurt. Like, you told me it doesn't hurt, so it's probably gonna be fine. How was in the afterlife generally? I'm asking for a friend. How was it being dead generally?
Well, my experience was pretty... I mean, it wasn't too bad, but I don't think it was a true representation of death, because I kind of got taken away from the process. We're going to have to talk about it. I told you, there's like a whole philosophical thing. You have to stay along live enough to tell me about the philosophy of death.
Let's cut to the outside of Neverwinter, where Selwyn and Ariazes, you are walking back toward the inn. It has been a little over an hour, and you are just now coming down off the battlements. Elminster went his separate way. Drist accompanied him to go and spread word among the rank and file gathered outside Neverwinter that, hey, guess what? We're marching probably like really, really soon.
And then Baku fell asleep immediately, like, where they stood.
Baku's like, excuse me, and then just lied down on top of the bed.
Right, just like, I'm done. They are exhausted.
Selwyn is silent for a long time. She's staring at her feet, but her mind is miles away. Specifically, it's at the spires of the morning, about an hour and a half ago. Ariazes, she says eventually. How could you do that?
Ariazes doesn't answer for a while. Eventually settles on a feeble attempt at naivete. Do what?
Selwyn flinches. That wasn't the right answer. Ariazes, after everything we've gone through with Sal, Eldaf, how can you do that? How can you just kill her?
It was presumptuous at best, Ariazes supposed, to think she could just get away with not talking about it. I know. Seeing you just drop like that, watching the light go out in your eyes, I just snapped.
That's not good enough. Selwyn's angrier than she expected to be.
Ariazes grinds her teeth. With everything we've been through.
Exactly! Selwyn interjects. She stops walking. We've all been through it. Sal's been through a lot. Qatar's been through a lot. I've been through a lot. And I haven't snapped and killed anyone lately.
I know we needed information from her, but with Escher...
This isn't about the information! Selwyn feels hysterical, like something thin and fragile inside her is close to snapping. You can't just let yourself default to murder just because something terrible has happened. We should know better. You should know better. If we can't justify saving lives, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, if we can't say that life matters, then what's even the point?
Ariazes steels her features. She has a niggling idea in the back of her mind. Is this about Val? About whatever it is she said to you?
Selwyn turns on a heel and just keeps walking. I don't want to talk about it.
Is it about your family? You've been awful quiet.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, we have to talk about something, Selwyn, because it's becoming pretty clear that you're not okay right now. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry about Nightlock. It was a bad impulse. But your family... Selwyn, whatever Val told you, it's clearly eating you alive.
Selwyn doesn't answer her. She just focuses on walking.
Ariazes keeps up with her, step for step. She grabs Selwyn by one wrist when she refuses to look at her. Selwyn.
What do you want me to say? Selwyn rips her hand away. Focus on the breath. Keep it reined in. Don't let that dam break, she tells herself. You can fall apart when the world doesn't hang in the balance. Do you want me to tell you I'm upset my whole family is dead? Of course I'm upset. I'm heartbroken. I feel like there's a shard of glass wedged in my heart so deep, trying to pull it out would bleed me dry.
Ariazes swallows. Her face softens. Selwyn.
Yes, what Val said wasn't great either. It's terrifying, in fact, and so massive in scope, I don't even know how to process it because I've been too busy grieving. So I just haven't. I've put it in a box labeled to deal with later, because if I deal with it now, I'll lose my mind.
When the comma arrives in the conversation, Ariazes opens her mouth to fill it, then thinks better of it and stays quiet.
I don't have time to deal with it. I don't have time to grieve or figure out what it means to be a character in some grand game of ineffable gods.
What?
I have to focus on holding myself together or I'm going to fall apart.
Ariazes grabs her by the face.
If nothing else, it succeeds in tripping Selwyn up. She shuts her mouth tight and swallows.
You don't have to explain it if you don't want. You don't have to grieve right now if you don't think you can. But Selwyn, you have to. Promise me, okay, that you won't let it fester?
Selwyn tries to speak. She chokes instead. Her eyes are burning with tears despite her best efforts to hold them back.
Wounds like this, I know from experience, they get worse before they get better. If you don't face it eventually, you're gonna do something like... She pauses. Like kill people without thinking.
Selwyn takes a couple of long breaths, trying to calm herself down. She keeps her eyes on the ground. Do you... She pauses, faltering. Do you think that a lack of free will strips meaning from choice?
It wasn't the direction Ariazes had expected this conversation to go. What?
Do you think that if our choices aren't really ours, it means they don't matter?
For a while, Ariazes doesn't say anything. A worrying thought creeps up in the back of her mind. If this is what Val got Selwyn thinking about, what the hell did it imply? But eventually she finds something approximating an answer. I think that meaning is a choice, she says, which is true. She does think that, and always has. I think it's a process, not the end product of an equation. If you want to find meaning in something, then you have to, in the end, make it yourself.
Selwyn is silent for a long time. A really, really long time.
The silence gets so long that Ariazes starts to wonder if she said the wrong thing.
Eventually, she leans her face forward, pressing her forehead to Ariazes. I love you.
Ariazes huffs a surprised laugh. Good to know, but I had a suspicion already.
Silent, I know I've been kind of lighthearted, but I am, I mean, seriously, you don't know how glad I am to be back. I think of all the stuff, it wasn't a bad existence to be in a basically paradise and be surrounded by a bunch of cute shit, but I missed...
Did you go to Elysium?
Maybe? I did. So there was a unicorn.
Yeah, if it's a unicorn, it's probably so.
It was my leaky. That was what it was. My leaky.
So listen. I say this with nothing but affection for you. But if I had to guess which outer plane your soul would travel to upon your death, it would not be Elysium.
No, I hear that. I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. I was expecting a lot more. Hell, to be completely honest.
Well,
but
no. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you'd go to the 9 hells or nothing, but like
you don't have to say it. I was just kind of. I haven't led a great life, Sal. I think I've been, anyways. But no. They told me that I knew. My leaky told me that she knew that I was gonna come back, and so they took me. They took me from the judgment process. So I didn't even get to find out where I was supposed to go. They just took me to Elysium, and they told me to wait.
Huh. Wow.
I know. It's a lot. I'm having a hard time. Honestly, like, I think I've just been sort of coasting along, but the longer I have to sit with this, the worse it's gonna get.
I mean, yeah, it seems like, yeah.
It's gonna get probably real bad, but I missed you, Sal. I missed everybody. I missed Ariazis and her stupid horns, and I missed Selene and her weird gothic nonsense. I mean, I missed I even missed the weird old elf dude. Like
Guitar?
Yeah, him.
He's not that old.
He's younger than Selwyn.
I mean, I'm sorry, Sal. I know you got a thing for the old dude. I will just, like I saw y'all kissing, and I'm very happy for you. I don't really get it, but I'm happy for you.
I mean, don't get too happy, because like I said, it's not gonna last much longer, so like...
I know Sal, we're gonna find a way. I know, you know what, I'm sure it's not helpful to hear that, but just know that I'm gonna
Nyla, it's really not helpful to hear that, and I'm really actually getting kind of sick of it. Like, if there was a way to fix this, we would have come up with it by now, right? Like, it's been months. We've known about this plan for months. Yeah, I'm not really filled with confidence.
I hear you. I'm not, you know what, I won't say it. I am gonna work towards it. So, but, I just want to talk to you a little bit about, I saw some really disturbing shit, Sal. I saw some really scary stuff. And it was you. You were the one who was scaring me.
Well, yeah, I'm not having a great time.
I mean, I hear that, and I get it, but you were scaring me with how you were treating other people. Like, you were always the beacon of light. You were always the one who was telling us not to kill people, and I know it's been tough, but I miss that person. I miss my friend.
Well, your friend's gonna be dead real soon, either literally or figuratively, so... I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Have I changed? Yeah, I've changed a lot. Some of it's been because of circumstance, and some of it's been because, you've spent a long time yelling at me for those very beliefs that kept me from killing people and valuing human life and everything. So, yeah, I've changed a lot, and I'm sorry if I'm not the person you remember, but it's not going to matter in, a week, so let's just try to remember the good parts of me, and then just let me go quiet into that good night, or whatever the saying is, okay? Do we really have to talk about this right now? I'd rather just be spending time shooting the shit and getting drunk and, having a good time with you, because, you've been dead for 3 months and I've missed you a whole lot.
I mean, I've missed you too, friend. I have. It's
so
just
let's
really
not
hard.
talk about the heavy stuff. Let's go get drunk! Or whatever. I don't drink. I'm remembering now that I actually... You know what? I'd love to start. I would love to start drinking.
I don't think you'd like it.
I would like to get drunk, please.
I don't think you would like that at all.
I've never gotten drunk. I've never even had any alcohol. I would like to try drinking.
I do want to have this conversation with you, but I also want to see you get drunk, so this is really tough.
Oh, Nyla, priority.
This is my weak spot. I don't know how you found it so quick, but I guess we're just such good friends that you know exactly what to say.
And also, I'm being 100% serious. I would like to get drunk at least once before I die. So
yeah, no, I'm actually thinking you should definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Drunk. Yeah, I mean, just once in your life in general. It's just honestly the fact that you haven't been drunk before ever is the saddest thing I've ever heard.
And let's take this moment to say Ariazis and Selwyn enter. They hear the unlocking of the door, and the door swings open. It says, "Oh," and Sel's like, "Oh, I probably should have braced you for this because just in case it was a little emotionally over. Hey guys, guess who's back? Guess what thing worked."
Sorry.
I think as Selwyn enters, Nyla stands up and she just looks at her and she goes, You bitch.
Go, Selwyn, like, backpedals out of the door.
Ariazi's like puts her arm out and she's like, okay, all right. You
I
got
no.
back.
She like bursts out laughing. She's like, "Oh, you should have seen your fucking face.
You totally fell for it. So like, she doesn't even remember what happened.
Nyla's like on the floor, cackling. She's like, "Oh my god, you're fucking. Oh god, you look so upset." Oh, okay. Oh.
Ariazi just like looks from like Selwyn to Nyla and Sal like,
Nyla gets up and she gives Selwyn a big hug.
I think Selwyn just kind of like numb shock hugs back.
How could you know that it was gonna kill me? It's not a big deal. I didn't even know what happened. I just woke up and I was dead, so it's all good.
I am sorry. I tried to make it not affect you, and I think that
that technically worked. Yeah. Technically, the night staff did not affect her.
She like pats her in the back. She's like, "Look, I mean, I'm not particularly happy. Like, I wasn't happy about being dead. It was not the best experience. It wasn't the worst, but it was also not the best experience of my entire life. That was definitely when I stole it. Anyways, but it wasn't that bad. And I'm back. I get to see all y'all." She goes over. She gives Ariazi's a big hug too.
Ariazi's like, you back? Okay. How was being dead?
She went to Elysium.
She what?
Yeah, I know, right?
It was
like,
a lot of plants.
Like,
frankly, it was more plants than I was really prepared for.
Because I would like, if you gun to my head, I would have been like, I don't know, Limbo maybe, but nah, she went straight to Elysium.
Huh.
There was this really cool mirror where I got to watch what y'all were doing. No, she turns back to Ariazi and she goes, "Yeah, you know, the mirror in the afterlife. Everybody knows about this, right? There's a mirror in the afterlife. You get to watch everybody and what they're doing."
I have no idea what she's talking
Nope,
about.
no idea. That sounds really creepy, though.
It was kind of, but it was also excellent. It was amazing. So I'm pretty much caught up. I was just telling Sal, like, you don't need to catch me up on too much.
Well, the good news is we've got a really big army that's waiting for us.
Oh, that's new.
Sal,
I didn't see that.
wasn't there with us, says, "What do you mean? How many people are coming?"
Like 18,000.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought our generous estimation was maybe 8,000.
Nope.
Yeah, but apparently, Baku just came back and was like counting off everybody who was volunteering to help us, like people we don't even know.
That's a lot of people.
Sal, you know how the city is crowded right now?
It finally clicks and he's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, those are all ours.
Yeah.
Those are all of our troops.
18,000 troops? Holy shit.
I'm sorry, did you just say our troops? We have troops? That's weird.
We have an army?
I know, it's bizarre. I vote Escher.
I sometimes put my shoes on the wrong feet every morning. I'm like, I don't know how this happened.
Oh, Sal, baby, don't tell people that.
Oh.
Sweetie, keep that inside your head.
So, like, he looks at everyone else like, who's gonna... I mean, we can't all just... We need to figure out how we're gonna do this, right? Like, not even, like, theoretically, but, like, logistically. Like, an army requires supplies and, like, a command structure, and...
Oh, yeah. Well,
we don't know how to do any of that.
Sal should be king, right? I mean, you're already king, Sal, so this is a pretty natural
Technically,
extension.
I haven't been coronated yet, so I'm still Prince Regent, but that's not the point. Like,
It's not very official.
Well, like, I've never even had to command, and, like, we've got an army, don't get me wrong, and they're probably somewhere out there looking like trees, probably, but I've never had to actually lead the ensign to battle or anything like that. I don't know how to do that. Does anyone know how to do that? Can we hire a general? Can we find one on Fiverr?
We have Ember, Tremaine, the paladin.
Someone will burst into laughter like, wait, you're serious?
From across the city, Ember looks up and says, "Someone said something rude about me."
I mean, some of them are his men, and I guess he's got experience.
I mean, he did save the world once.
Yeah, he and Escher and the big tall one.
He's very shiny.
He barely knows basic math.
True. That is true.
He knows basic math.
His int is very high. It's his whiz that's not.
Right. He can do algebra.
Whoa!
That's it.
Whoa!
Pass algebra.
Amazing.
Geometry was a real struggle. No geometry.
No geometry. And then
Also,
I guess
has anyone proposed this general plan to the shiny man?
I mean, we just found out.
And I
Right,
think,
I
as I
mean,
recall, he said he went to get super drunk with his husband, so...
right, yeah.
Hey,
that happened.
what a
okay.
coincidence. We were about to go get super drunk.
That's
Yeah.
why they're not here. We left them with you, and then we come back, and okay, so they got drunk.
He
All right.
turns to Selwyn and Ariazi's like they're his moms. He's like, "Can I get drunk before I die?"
Sal, you don't have to ask for me.
I
You
want to
just said
get.
you're a prince.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but
can you? Of course, but should you?
Yes.
I would like to get drunk.
Everybody should get drunk at least once.
I'm going to die
It's
very soon.
really-
Remember, I would
it-
like to get drunk.
It's not
your
pleasant.
timeline.
Then why does everyone
but
keep doing it?
Sure, do what you want.
Cool. Hey, Nyla, let's go get drunk.
Excellent. That's the best news anyone said to me in like 3 months. You guys can come.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
we're
I'm leaving
absolutely-
you two alone.
Yeah, we're absolutely not leaving you unchaperoned.
Everything ends up back at the tavern, because this is Dungeons and Dragons, and most things end up in a tavern at some point. I imagine Escher and Ember are already there, probably like a drink and a half down.
Mm-hmm.
Escher is like, basically, like, over the last couple of minutes, Ember, the impression you've gotten from your husband is that he has a lot to unpack, and he's realizing, like, he doesn't have the time to unpack it. Like,
Yeah.
you're about to march into war, and he is definitely not letting you do that alone. So he's gonna have to come with you, and he's just gonna have to put his mental breakdown in a nice little box and, like, save it for later, because he doesn't have time right now.
We can have a breakdown after the war ends.
We'll have a breakdown after the war ends. But that has not stopped him from getting drunk. He's really, like, he's already 2 drinks in. He's like, another! You know, like the Thor gif.
I think Ember's like, yes, you know, it's drinking is great. Maybe you should just slow down just like a little, babe. Just a
Crash.
just-
Another!
Okay.
So yes, this is the scene that you arrive at when you finally make it back to the big tavern. And Salvador eagerly goes up to the main bar on the ground level and he says, "I would like a shots." He doesn't understand, like...
Nyla gets up and she's like, Sal, can you boost
Oh yeah, and he like kicks one of the bar stools so it goes down to halfling level and then like scooches it back up with a little handle underneath, like squeaky, squeaky,
Aw.
squeaky, squeaky.
I come up with a bar and I'm like, what my esteemed friend here is trying to say is that we would like shots.
Shots, shots, shots!
Yep,
And the bartender's like,
oh man.
"All right, getting crazy tonight, huh?" And he
Oh,
he starts getting everything ready. And okay, let's just delineate how many of us are actually getting drunk, because it is going to... because it's going to affect how comfortable the march is tomorrow.
Oh boy.
So Nyla's been dead for a while. She's getting drunk. It's gonna take a lot, but it's gonna happen.
Sal is definitely in team get drunk.
Yep.
And the good news is this is D&D, so you don't need a designated driver, because there are no cars.
There are no
Amazing.
So
Probably less
Selwyn is
fatal.
definitely having 1 drink, but I don't think she's gonna have much more than that.
Coward!
Yeah, I feel like after their super heavy conversations, like Ariazi's like, yeah, maybe like a shot or 2, but like I've got shit to think about.
Yeah, I mean, Selwyn has some other shit that she has to get to, so like,
oh yeah.
Okay, so and team get drunk is at least Nyla, Salvador, Escher. What about Ember? Is he in team get drunk?
No. He has to watch over Escher.
Right.
Escher's like, "You can watch me get drunk!"
Yep, that's what's gonna happen, babe. And then someone has to carry your drunk ass home, so
I love
Katara's
it,
gonna
so-
come back and everyone's gonna be on the ground. I'll be like, what the hell?
They're dead! They're all dead! Let's have Nyla, Escher, and Salvador roll con saves in that case to see how well they handle their liquor. Oh my god.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, so here's how I think this in the attempt to get drunk. How successful everyone is. Nyla is extremely successful. She rolled a 5.
Excellent.
Right.
Salvador does his best. He tries his very, very best, but like he's not used to alcohol, and by his like, you know, his 3rd gin and tonic, he is puking outside on the ground.
Oh
Like
no.
he is just absolutely out of his mind drunk. Escher drinks like a fucking champion. Like, he goes ham, and he is like, absolutely out of his mind drunk and loving every second of it. No puking outside, though. Because he rolled a natural 20. Because apparently he is a god among men when it comes to getting his drink on, so.
Yeah, apparently.
If he were slightly younger and slightly wilder and not married, he'd be, like, dancing on the table. Like, just...
Honestly, I'm actually just surprised he's not dancing on the tables anyway.
So, let's say y'all are not quite completely plastered, but pleasantly drunk, when... Finally, Qatar, Dristorden, and Elminster return to the inn. And Elminster comes up and puts his hand on, let's say Ember's shoulder in greeting, and he says, "Oh yes, you're the, I think we've met, haven't we? We've met, haven't we?"
We've met multiple times.
Yes, probably. You're probably correct in that assessment. Good to see you. I actually have someone that I would like to introduce to you. And Escher's like, "No introductions! Drinking only!" And then he, like, throws back another shot.
So my husband is a tiny bit drunk, as one can see.
Yes, I can see that, yes.
Just the slightest bit super trashed. So
Escher, like, throws one arm around your shoulder, and I was like, "Have I ever told you that you're cute? We've been married for 2 years."
Like, babe, we're married, yeah. Oh, babe, you had a crush on me, we're married.
It's always nice to hear.
Don't tell my husband, but you cute.
Oh, so this is how it is.
God, Vasha wishes they were there.
So as Escher is drunkenly hitting on his own husband, and it is not clear whether or not he realizes that it is his husband that he's hitting on, Elminster says, "Oh yes, well, I would like to get an introduction out of the way, if you don't mind. You see, I managed to find, in my travels, one Lynette Porter. You remember Lynette? I mentioned her. Yes.
Ember starts to say something really rude and then stops. He's like, "Oh, the sick, oh."
He says, "Yes, so the good news is I found her. The bad news is she's extremely contagious, so we must be very careful when we're around her. But the further good news is she is perfectly willing to help our cause, which is good."
Excellent. Is she here?
She is currently in bed. It is very late. She's extremely old and sick.
Fair enough. Well, I guess we'll just need to take her with us.
Says, "Yes, it'll be a difficult journey for her, but she understands the importance of it." She says, "Would you like to come meet her?" And Salvador, stumbles drunkenly into Elminster. He's like, "Why doesn't she come to get some shots? Do you know about shots?"
Oh, God.
Do you know about shots?
Is like, "What?"
Sal.
They're great.
Here, and Selwyn pushes a glass of water into his hand.
They're great.
He's like, I left you, and this is what I come back to.
Guitar High! Do you know about shots?
I do. I know about shots, Sal.
They're great, right?
How many have you had?
I don't remember.
It's like 10. Like 10?
Oh, it's not 10.
Oh, good. I am so glad that you discovered shots.
I'm glad too. I'm so glad. I don't know why I haven't been drinking all this time. It is very good. It's a good thing to do.
Just wait till tomorrow morning, hon. You'll find out real quick.
Oh boy.
He says, and Elminster, who was slowly realizing, like, okay, maybe right this moment is not the best time to introduce everyone to Lynette Porter. He says, okay, well, maybe in the morning then, perhaps, when you're all a little more sober.
That seems like a very good idea.
Yeah. Guitar is still like, what the fuck? Who did this?
I did it.
Yeah.
And I went back like, it was me! I did it!
It's like, of course. You come back and this is the first thing that happens, of course.
That was his idea.
It was my idea.
You can't let him go on his entire life without drinking. Come on, man.
You can't let me die without getting drunk. That's against the law.
I also can't let you die.
Well, good job with that so far. And then he falls out of his chair.
Oh, gee. Oh, man. So
honey.
he really can't handle his... His liquor.
I mean, it is the first time he's ever drunk anything, so, like...
Right.
Not all of us can be
Guitars.
halflings and dwarves.
So let's paint... I don't want to spend too much time on the scene, but I would like to paint a general idea of what's happening. Because, you know, despite Sel's dogged determination to get absolutely shit-faced, like, this is probably the last time that you're going to have together before at least one of you dies. You know, the last time you'll be able to really have fun together. Before you gotta do things.
Oh, no.
Why?
Nyla, did you have to encourage? I mean, I guess I get it, but also...
He wanted to do it. You can't just
That's-
deny a man.
Yeah, he wanted to. I guess it's better than...
He's an
what
adult.
He is an adult. It's...
Yeah, I think I'm probably, like, sleeping. I'm either drinking or I'm sleeping. It's one of the two.
I like because you did roll a 4 on your Constitution save, so I like the image of like the bartender, like Nyla going up to the bartender is like, I want you to get me as fucking drunk as possible, but it's not going to be easy. I need you to pull this one out for me. And the bartender's like, well, I have this one liquor, but I don't know, it might kill you. And she's like, give it to me now. And then
She's like, that's the one.
Like smash cut to 20 minutes later, she's face down on the floor.
Yep, this is solid. Yep, this is exactly what happened.
I feel like, too, like, Qatar also, that last line kind of stabbed a bit, like, good job at keeping me alive so far. He's like, all right, time to fucking drink. And Ariazi's like, what the fuck, Dad?
And Drist, watching all of this chaos unfold, is like, yeah, all right, why not?
Elminster, you are not allowed to order us drinks. I remember what we had earlier tonight. Absolutely not.
You're not like rum, my darling.
There are so many better drinks.
I disagree heartily, but fine. So it's, so let's say, how sentimental does it get versus how much like a wild college party does it get?
Oh boy.
I mean, there's already lots of emotion in our corner.
Yeah, I feel like, maybe it will start off as like a college frat party sort of thing, and then like Qatar gets real sad real fast, like he's just a crying drunk, and you're like, oh no.
Oh,
That's terrible.
that's the worst.
Right? Like
That was
he's
just
like,
fun.
yeah, let's have some drinks, and then like, I'm sorry, Arias, I failed as a father.
Oh no.
Oh,
I
God.
think Nyla's just telling everybody about the afterlife, like, a lot. She's just like, guys, oh my god, guys, is the prettiest mirror you've ever seen. Have you ever seen a mirror? Have you ever seen
It sounds
a
like
mirror?
I've never seen a mirror. Not
I thought
once.
so. I thought you hadn't, because you seemed like you hadn't seen a mirror. It was so
Burn.
the prettiest mirror.
Oh my god.
Oh,
no.
God.
Oh no.
I, Val, have not had enough alcohol to deal with this scene.
Oh no, yeah.
And then she starts describing in detail all of the animals. She's like, wait, there was a fox. And then not only was there a fox, there were baby foxes. They're baby. She's like really close in somebody's face as she's saying this. Like, I'm gonna say it's Ariazi. She's like, baby foxes.
And she just
Also-
like pushes her face away, like, yep, I got it. Baby foxes.
It goes on like this for quite a while.
So I feel like it gets pretty rowdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that this particular inn is known for throwing just banging parties 24/7.
Mhm.
Like,
Wow.
the atmosphere is really good. The alcohol is amazing. All the staff are really friendly, and it's just a good
It's
place
cheap.
to get drunk. It's just a good place to get schlammered. And schlammered you get. I feel like when around the point where Salvador is puking outside or something,
God.
Elminster finally calls a rap on it. Like he's the, and it almost hurts my soul to say this, but Elminster is like the only responsible adult left in this party.
No.
When you get drunk enough, it's like, okay, kids.
Selwyn's been trying, but nobody's listening.
He eventually does wrap it up, and he's like, okay, someone's gonna need to drag Nyla back by her ankle, and Qatar, if you could just throw Sal over your shoulder, because I don't think he can move.
Yep. I'll do that. Sal over the shoulder.
And you all make it back to your inn, and then the next morning, oh god, that you are hungover. Oh, sweet Jesus. That was entirely too much drinking last night. Wow.
Yep.
But the only one of the few who's not hungover is actually you, Ember, and Elminster gets you up early. And he has you basically patrolling the outer battlements of Neverwinter, seeing the state of your army. And people are, like, bringing reports to you. They've sort of just decided that you're going to be the commander of this army.
Oh, God. I think Ember's just, like, taking them, and he's like, who do I give these? Where do these go?
The second son syndrome kicks in, like, what am I supposed to do with these? But yeah, Elminster is giving you a tour of the battlements, and yeah, there are a lot of people here. People that you didn't ever expect to see. Some people you don't even know. Like, you've got the entire city guard from Arabelle. You've never even fucking been to Arabelle. You don't know why they're here, and Elminster and you actually end up talking to the captain of the city guard in Arabelle, and he explains what Nyla and Salvador and Ariazis and Selwyn all did, saving all the children from that broken temple all those years ago. And they're paying off their debt of gratitude for that. And then there's all the infantry from Barovia. And it's actually the were-ravens that you recognize first, the ones that transform from their were-raven state and address you, and they remember you very well, and they ask you where Escher is, and you're like, oh, he's extremely drunk fighting a hangover. And they're like, yeah, that sounds like him, yeah. But yeah, there's a huge clan of Dragonborn as well from Baku's clan that address you and give you their numbers and their all the valuable statistical data that they have. There's a tribe of halflings from the River Chiantar who show up, and they've brought, like, makeshift trebuchets, which fucking rule. Like,
sorry, what?
They've brought trebuchets. Halflings are very, very good with building things. I looked this up, it's true. They're good with building things, and, like, the trebuchets are only, like, a quarter of the size of a normal trebuchet, but they've got just as much power. They can throw flaming boulders if you need them to.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
That's awesome.
You've got an army of Ents as well, Ember, which Elminster says that to you. It's like, you've got the army of Ents from the High Forest, and you're like, fucking where? I don't see any. And then Elminster, like, points to the forest that wasn't there 3 days ago. It's like, that's them.
Oh.
They're just standing still right now.
Good God. I'm sorry. When you say you have an army, what exactly
Oh, did they not warn you, my dear?
No.
You are the only one with something resembling command experience, so you, congratulations, have been elected commander of the army.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Lathander. Oh, Lathander.
Oh, Lathander.
He just sort of looks around and is like, well, I mean, I guess if no one else is going to do it, someone has to step up. Well, does anyone else? Okay, other people have to be generals. I guess we need to gather, like, the leaders of each, like, battalion. Those are words.
Battalion, sure. Why not? Battalion.
So I think he, like, maybe is, like, puts out a call for all, like, the leaders of each separate unit to come together, and they're going to have, like, a war council.
Hell yeah. We don't have time to sit through it, and also because that sounds boring. But like, it's a good image,
right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a war council, right? If you're gonna have
of course, it's
armies,
required.
Yeah,
they have. Let's say it's very early in the morning. Ember is sitting at the head of this long table, and you've got everyone there. You've got the matriarch of Baku's Dragonborn clan. You've got the elder from the Halfling village. You've got, well, the ent leader can't come inside. He's standing outside, and he's got, like, a branch, like, through the window, and, like, kind of listening that way. You've got Damian Martikov, the patriarch of the Were-Ravens and the unofficial leader of the Barovian battalion. And you all have a little powwow at the bottom of this inn. And eventually, Escher stumbles downstairs with a huge hangover. He's like, oh my god, if anyone talks above a whisper, I am gonna absolutely murder them.
That's, honey.
Ooh, can Baku come to the war council? Because their clan is there.
No. Yes, of course. What the?
Right. Baku hasn't seen Escher yet. And I feel like right after Escher's like, don't talk above a whisper, Baku's like, Escher!
Oh my god!
Sorry.
Yeah, it feels like a huge reunion is basically what's happening. Everyone that you've ever met, everyone you've ever helped, all gathered, ready to pay back that debt to you. And by the end of the war council, after you're discussing where you're going, what you need to do, what sort of flanking strategies you have for the terrain that you've seen. It feels, for a minute, you're not even sure what it is, and then you realize what you're feeling is hope. Like, you've assembled 18,000 people that are all ready to fight and die for you. And if anyone could take down an army of demons headed up by a mad goddess, maybe it's this.
Oh god. I think it would like just look around awkwardly at everybody and just like,
that would be a great time for an inspirational speech.
oh no.
See, the problem is Ember has the charisma. Amber hasn't had time to plan.
And Amber doesn't have the charisma. No, Ember would actually be very good at this. Ember gets up and he looks out at the crowd of people and he goes, I'm humbled to see you all here today in support of our great nation.
Nation? Okay, well.
Faerun.
Faerun's a continent, not a nation.
It's, yeah. I mean, geography is not a strong suit. We've all fought and faced evils, many evils over these years. And we've come through, we've persevered. And now we have just one more. Now I know this is going to be a long road, this is going to be a tough battle, but with all of us here, I'm thinking for the first time, we might just make it through. We might just defeat this evil goddess and save our country, continent.
And save the whole of Faerun. Let's put it like that.
And save the whole of Faerun. And he like looks at everybody like he like as he's doing, he's like scanning the room and he's like, I see so many people from all across Faerun, and I have to say thank you all. We never expected anything like this, but
the first to stand up is Davian Martikov, and he says, Barovia stands with you. And then the matriarch of Baku's clan stands up and he says, the clan Bakunawa stands with you. And then one by one they all stand up and they all put their swords in the center of the table or whatever the fuck they did, and then Arthur... They all stand up and they swear their allegiance to see this through to the end. Moving an army anywhere takes a long time. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of equipment, it's a lot of mounts that you have to worry about, and also now there are tree ants with you, and tree ants are not inconspicuous. Like, it's one thing to see an army marching over a hillside, it's another to see a fucking forest moving alongside them. That's a little weird. And it is long and it is grueling, and you keep going further and further north, up and up a long slope of mountain, and it gets colder and colder and colder, and it feels more real every single day that you make camp and you pick up camp and you keep moving. And it is really starting to feel like a march. It is starting to feel like a battle. It is starting to feel like the end is coming. How is everyone handling this?
Not great!
Thanks for asking. Not great!
yeah, I think Ember's like distracted enough, and there's like a joy in like being so incredibly important. That
Of course.
I think Ember's doing pretty well because he's got his husband back, and there's like hope in the future, and he's leading a giant army. So this is really pretty much his dream, except for his house is destroyed.
Right, and his mom is dead, and
yes, Nyla is not as great.
How is Nyla doing?
I think she's starting to think more about, like, death. And
really?
like,
I can't imagine why.
She's not sleeping very well. There's, I think, a lot going through her head about, like, have I led a good life? Am I actually worth, like, I don't know. Where am I gonna end up? Oh god, she needs to talk about Sal to this, because Sal needs to be a good person or he's gonna end up in hell.
Sorry, didn't mean to say
Wow.
that.
What about Selwyn? How's Selwyn doing?
She's not doing great. She sees all the people that turned out, and that's amazing. But she also doesn't see anybody from Silvery Moon, and that hurts. And, her sister could have been there with everything, and she doesn't know how to deal with that. Mostly by repressing it. It's great.
Ariazis? How's Ariazis?
Yeah, she's got some things to think about with her conversation with Selwyn, so she's trying, like, this whole thing is very new. She's completely not used to, like, marching or being in an army. Like, this is a lot more people than she's used to. Like, she grew up in the forest, so she's like, okay, the trees, like, it's weird for other people, it's normal for her, but it's the sheer amount of people. She's just like, oh my god, there's so many people all the time.
Oh yeah, Selwyn feels that too.
Yeah, so that's something to get used to, and it just, like, every day just feels more and more real. Like, oh, this is it. This is the thing that we were talking about, and it's a lot. It's a lot to process.
And it's compounded, I think, by the fact that anytime any of you go anywhere during the camp, when you're setting up camp and when the soldiers are resting between marches, people, like, notice you and they recognize you, because everyone here isn't just here because. They're here because they remember how you helped them. And so anytime you walk through camp, like, you see one of the guards from Arabelle smile at you or bow or thank you again for saving the daughter of the blacksmith to whom they just got married. You know, like, there's a personal story every time someone recognizes you in the camp. And it makes it feel more real, I imagine, what you're fighting for and what you fought for all this time. And you all share a large, well, the quote-unquote command structure. That is just such as it is, shares one larger tent than the rest. It's set up right in the middle of camp. And Salvador comes in while you are all sitting down and having dinner, and he says, so I've got news. One of the scouts just reported back. They have seen his army not very far away.
I assume you mean your father's?
Who else?
Yep, I sure do. He sits down at the end of this huge round table around which you are all situated. And he says, they're about 40 miles off. They are also making camp for the night. But if we alter our trajectory properly, we can intersect them before they get to the fortress.
Ember's definitely, like, obviously, if this is news, that's what the scout says, we need to pivot our army. This is the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to stop him, and the idea is to stop him before he can rejoin or get somewhere fortified.
Yeah.
And we need, as much as it pains me to say this, we definitely do need him alive.
Yes, we do.
Yep.
He says we're going to have to arrange who's the sneakiest among us. I feel like the were-ravens might be able to do that pretty well. They can transform into birds, after all.
Are we really sending somebody else to capture Lord Porter, or are we doing it ourselves?
Elminster sort of leans back in his chair and he says, well, I think we should prepare an assault as a distraction, but take Lord Porter, if possible, captive during the battle.
Yeah, that's my feeling. Like, and we shouldn't leave it to somebody else, like, because he's very powerful. And
Salvador's like, he's not that powerful. He bleeds like anyone else.
Yeah,
He's a paladin. That's all he is.
Excuse you.
I forgot.
I don't even remember what level he is. It's been a while since I've looked at his character sheet. What level is he?
Right, he's just a paladin, Ember. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Right in front of my salad.
I'm sitting here, right here in front of you. I'm just gonna go off and say things like that.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I made his character sheet a while ago, because he appeared in that episode way back, remember?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, back then, level 10 was a pretty decent challenge in case you had to fight him.
Yeah, we would have died.
Well, presumably he's leveled up since then, right?
I mean, not really. He's been busy. He's been making a phylactery. He hasn't done anything.
Baku's like, oh, magic. Speaking of magic, I found Mordenkainen's spellbook.
What?
Yeah, it took me like a week of digging through your house, the rebels of what was the house, Tremaine. Yeah, I found it. Yes, our house. You're right. I did live there. I found it, but I don't learn spells by reading because I'm not a wizard. I just feel it in my heart.
I don't even go here.
Baku's like, I don't know.
Can someone else use it?
We only have one wizard, Salvador says, looking pointedly at Selwyn.
She feels really awkward because, like, it's a spell book, and she already invaded the privacy of this spell book once before.
And also, you don't have any 9th level spell slots.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
There's that. Like, I've been focusing a little bit more on Warlock recently.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there, whether or not you can use it.
Elminster says, well, I mean, I suppose I could learn the spell. Wait, he thinks about it, he says, do I already know Wish? And he's like silent for a really long time, then he shuffles into his bag and like pulls out his spellbook and like flips through it. He says, No, I don't know it. Okay.
It's like, by the way, who are all of you again?
Where am I? What's going on?
So, what spell are you talking about?
Wish.
Wish, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. Baku's like, anyway, I found a book. It could be useful.
Oh, God.
Salvador says, I think it should go without saying, not for this fight, because right now the forces are pretty lopsided. We've got like 4 or 5 times the army that he has, numerically speaking. But I feel like we should talk about how on the final confrontation we're going to need every single bit of help that we can get.
Yep.
We're going to need you, Ember, to, if possible, call down Lathander, maybe? Get his help?
Oh, yeah, we haven't talked in a while.
Selway, we're going to need the Raven Queen's help.
Yeah.
And I'll use Divine Intervention for what's-his-face? The god that I worship now, whose name I can't remember super well? It'll matter.
Didn't go super well, but okay.
Guitar's like, okay. I thought we had this crisis already.
And he says, absolutely anything that we think can help.
No, you're absolutely right. Okay, but for the battle at hand, we need to, like I said, we just need to make sure that we've got ourselves as like a strike team to go in and take him alive. We don't want to leave that to somebody else, I don't think. I don't trust.
He says, all right, well, if you insist, it might be kind of chaotic getting through the fray.
It usually is. He says, like he's a battle-hardened.
Baku's like, also, don't forget about the phylactery, where that's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, we should take that away from him ASAP.
Definitely.
The night of the battle approaches, and it is a little bit fraught. The entire army is on edge because they know they're about to spring a trap. And springing that trap means literally going to battle. Like, it's been pretty theoretical up till now, but it's getting pretty real. And while you are out riding, the quote-unquote command structure of the army, like the higher-ups, each battalion leader and the inner circle are riding not quite at the front of the army, but near the front of the army. And as you are all positioning this massive army of nearly 20,000 people, just so along the ridge, a voice comes out from behind you. It says, well, I thought I was going to do a little bit better at introducing myself than this, but I have been very tired lately.
Ariasu's gonna look around like, who said that?
You turn around, the first and only one to do so, apparently, and you see a very frail, elderly old woman who is on a steed of her own, although she looks like she's barely holding herself up. She has this sort of large swath of sort of like black pustules coming out from her mouth and sweeping backward into her hairline. She looks like she's about 150 years old. And she looks very, very frail. And she has a delicate white mask, sort of like made of a thin, transparent silk, covering her mouth. And she says, which one of you is my, nephew, technically, I think?
So Wayne points to Sal.
Oh yeah.
Salvador,
who is this? Oh yeah.
Salvador sort of blinks, startled, looking back as well. He's like, right, so you're my aunt? Are you my father's sister? She says, no, I'm your grandfather's sister. We didn't get along. Hence why I'm, disinherited and cast out and mostly dead now.
Are you able to ride by yourself?
I'm riding, aren't I?
I mean, is it safe for you to be out? Because Elminster said you were sick.
Yes, I am extremely sick. Unfortunately, there's really not a good safe place for someone like me when you're literally riding into battle. He says, don't worry, I'll keep to the back. I'll make sure everyone charges past me. Just in case, one or all of us died in this assault, I figured I'd want to meet my great-nephew? But it's your grandfather's...
Oh, God. I don't
Great.
fucking know what
I
that is.
think it's great. I think it's great, nephew.
I think we could, like, I mean, she just needs to be in a safe spot at the back. I mean, there's always, like, people who just travel with the camp, and, like, you know, they're kind of out of the line of fire for the most part.
Yeah, and there are definitely, like, you know, functionaries, you know, people that are not soldiers that know where to stay. She says, and I know it's not going to be much longer, and I just wanted to take this last opportunity while I had it. She sort of walks her horse very, very slowly up towards Salvador, and she hands him a small pendant. And the pendant has the House Porter crest upon it. And she says, now listen, son. I know that this probably isn't what you want to hear right now. And I know you probably are very righteously and rightfully angry with your father and anyone associated with your house, but the blood in your heart beats with Porter blood as much as it does with Anaran blood. And it would do well for you to remember that. There's going to be a leaderless city not too long from now. You're going to have to think about that as well. And Salvador's like, cool, thanks for reminding me. Another responsibility I have to add to my dead shoulders. Cool, thanks. She says, I didn't tell you this to make you worry, boy. I told you this because it is your responsibility. Think about it, figure it out. It's important too, just like your mother's family was important. There's a lot of people that live in Baldur's Gate, and you'll let them down if you don't do anything.
I like this old lady.
I know, right?
She says, anyway, I'm gonna go lie down in a tent and try not to die for another 18 hours, I guess.
We appreciate your service.
Shut up!
I love it. Angry old woman.
Let me die with some dignity, I swear to God. I didn't give a fuck.
I think Nyla turns to Sal and she goes, well, I mean, if you're dead, you don't have to worry about it, so there's at least that, right?
No, but she's right, I gotta do something. Fuck! Nyla, do you want to rule Baldur's Gate?
Absolutely do not. Oh my god, no.
Why
Yeah,
not?
Bad idea. Nope.
You-
Nope. Vetoed.
You can't steal from things if you own them.
That's your hang-up? That's your main hang-up?
That's it. That's the hang-up. Nothing else. Everything else is fine. But that's a major problem, Sal.
Nyla, don't you think maybe we should be thinking about bigger things right now?
Than stealing from people.
Yes.
This is why she'd make a terrible leader for Baldur's Gate. Why would you even ask her, Sal?
Because she's changed a lot, haven't you?
I mean,
Nyla, you were asking yourself when your soul was brought to judgment. You were wondering what kind of person you are. Isn't this a good way to prove it to yourself and to the world?
this. You know what? I was thinking more like baby steps. Like I was gonna like feed an orphan.
Nyla, the world's fucking ending!
Oh Jesus, Sal. Look, I didn't want to be in charge of anything. I didn't even want to be on this trip.
Nyla, we are running real low on the people who are both capable of and willing to do the hard things.
Surely someone else in this room. Nella like turns around and she's like desperately looking at Selwyn and Ariazi's like, someone else.
Like Selwyn is capable of leading anything.
Like I'm capable of leading anything.
Salvador says, it can't be Qatar and Ariazis because they're going to be the archers of the Anaran Glade when I die. And Selwyn, no offense, Selwyn, but it seems like you've got enough shit going on. Like, your whole family's dead, and we haven't really talked about that. And also, you're not much like of a, you're very quiet, is what I'm trying to get at. You're very mousy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love you a whole heck of a lot.
I
But,
love you too.
But you don't strike me as a natural-born leader.
No.
I'm not a natural born leader. You can barely see me. You have to look down at me.
I think the Lady Meriwether Faustus would disagree.
That's
You can be that person when you need to be. I've seen you do it before.
I feel like you're confusing me with someone else. Sal, there's so many people. There's so many people who would love the chance to rule Baldur's Gate.
Power should be taken with reluctance or not at all.
I don't know. I've never ruled. Can I think about it?
I don't think we have a lot of time for thinking.
You've got until the end of the battle, Nyla. Because by the end of the battle, I'm gonna have to be dead, so think real hard and real quick.
Well, I'm good at that. I'm good at thinking on my feet, Sal.
The battle at first goes actually kind of surprisingly well. Like, you are setting up for the flank, and it's going pretty well. You have the advantage of directionality. Like, your forces are hidden behind this steep ridge and slightly behind the forces that are marching up toward the fortress, the forces of Lord Porter. And you think everything is going well, and you guys are at the vanguard. You guys are at the very, very front because you're going to have to pierce through the fighting and get to Lord Porter as fast as possible. And it is only because you are on the vanguard that you realize there is something that the scouts either didn't notice or failed to mention as you are coming up along the ridge.
Uh-oh.
Near where all the banners are flying, near where presumably Lord Porter would be marching, there is a maybe 25-foot tall something covered in a huge tarp, and it is moving. Like, you can see something moving underneath it. There are people with ropes. It's got to be about 20 people that are guiding this massive thing.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
How big is it?
About 25 feet tall.
Okay.
If I had to, for example, give it a size classification, I would say it would be size huge.
Great.
You can definitely hear some faint grumbling and rumbling and roaring sounds from that general direction, however.
I mean, so
Whatever it is, we need to take it out. Yeah, send something. We need to send a scouting party.
Yeah, I was going to say, Selwyn can send the Raven ahead to see if she can hear a little bit better.
Okay, you send your Raven out, Selwyn. What would you like to do with it?
I think try to overhear, like, if any of the troops are talking about what's under the thing, or try to hear if I can hear any of the actual noises that it's making to get a better idea of what it might be.
What languages do you speak, Selwyn?
Elvish, Common, Primordial, Terran, Deep Speech, and Draconic.
Okay. So, you try to listen in on the soldiers first, and the only thing that you can tell about the soldiers is that whatever is under this huge tarp, they are fucking terrified of it. Like, they keep looking backwards at it every couple minutes, like, nervously, checking over their shoulder as they're guiding it with these huge chain ropes, slowly forward through the snow. You can also see traces of a reddish glow coming from underneath the tarp.
Okay.
And also, it's talking.
Well,
Oh, that's not good.
oh no.
That is so not good.
Can Selwyn
Okay.
understand it?
No, she cannot. It is an abyssal.
Oh no.
Okay. Can I see, like, what kind of material the chains are made with? Like, can I tell if they're, like, silvered or anything? Would that give me any help?
Nope. They are regular. They're huge, but they're regular iron chains.
Okay. So I guess the question is, do I recognize that it's abyssal?
Yeah, you can recognize that it is abyssal. You've heard it enough because you've been dealing with a whole bunch of demons lately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's sort of mumbling lowly to itself in this truly, truly horrifying voice.
Okay, well, I can at least report back that I don't know shit.
Right.
I even
Speaking
know
in abyssal.
At least tell us what you saw.
Yeah, you can report that it's being held with massive iron chains, and that there's some sort of red fire from underneath the tarp, and that it is growling and grumbling in abyssal, which is not great.
Bad.
Okay. So those things are really dangerous, and we probably need to take them out. Like, that probably needs to be our priority.
Salvador's like, should we blow one of our big cards on this one, do you think?
Like, gods, or...
Yeah,
But-
maybe.
I mean, we also don't even know what it is. I mean, yes, we probably should blow a big card, but also, what if we waste it?
I'm not bringing Lathander in for this.
Lathander is a once-a-month thing, so that's probably
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Sal's like, I guess I have divine intervention, and I could try that with... Then he's like silent, and like, fuck. Ilmatter. I could try that with Ilmatter, maybe. I could...
I think you should also save that. Maybe...
Well, also, divine intervention, at his level, it's not a guaranteed success. Divine intervention only becomes a guaranteed success at level 20.
Mm.
It's a pretty slim chance, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to roll a 1d100 and the number has to be lower than your level. So he has to roll a 1d100 and get 13 or lower.
Yeah.
So
Which is not a great chance.
Man, other options.
Ember says, we could just go in there and hit it. Usually works for me.
Salvador says, okay, well, we could just go in and hit it, or we could try the Raven Queen. You get to try that once a day, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to try that.
Yeah, we should just try it. If you could do that once a day, why don't you do it?
I think Ember wants to hit it, Baku says, is what he's trying to say. I think Ember wants to smash something.
100% want to smash something. We sit around here talking all day. I haven't smashed anything all day. Ember turns around to all of you, and he goes, hold your ground. Hold your ground! I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all the bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
What the fuck?
An hour of wolves and shattered shields.
I've heard
When
this.
the age of men comes crashing
I've
down.
heard
But
this speech.
What does he do?
But it is not this day!
This is the speech for Return of the King.
This day we fight! By all that you hold dear on this good Faerun, I bid you stand!
Men of the... Wait, no!
Wait a minute. Oh boy.
Salvador's like, okay, we're gonna get sued for copyright infringement, let's go!
Yeah!
The army goes charging down the ridge. And so far as you are able to, it does take them by surprise. This massive army charging down toward them. It catches them completely by surprise, and you can hear generals shouting orders, commanders ordering the men to turn around, knock your bows, and before you can even get to the front lines with the vanguard, the battle starts and they race out to meet you. I want everyone to roll initiative.
Oh no.
The initiative order has been set. Are you ready to fucking do this? The first of two
my
battles?
Oh my God. I'm ready to see what the fuck that thing is and what it can do. I'm scared.
Well, good news. It's first up in the order.
I'm not pleased.
The army crashes into the forces of Duke Portyr with a tremendous sound of clattering steel, sprays of blood, and shouted words in 1,000 different languages. There is a consternation coming from the middle of the pack of Portyr's forces. Varying orders of, what should we let it out? Okay, let it out, and then hit the fucking deck! The tarp is pulled away.
Oh no.
25 feet tall, with an enormous set of wings, carrying a flaming whip in one hand and a sword made out of lightning in the other. It turns its bestial head and roars at you, and then goes charging forward. It is so far away that it can only barely get to you and doesn't have enough time, doesn't have an action to attack.
Thank God.
Oh my God. What?
Anyone who cares to can roll if they would like.
Yep, I'm
Yeah, what am I rolling?
Yeah, it's like Baku, like
This would be religion or arcana. So Ember, this is your wheelhouse. You know demons, mostly because you enjoy killing them in various creative ways. That thing is what is called a Balor. Figures of ancient and terrible evil. Balors rule as generals over demonic armies, yearning to seize power while destroying any creatures that oppose them. Wielding a flaming whip and a long sword that channels the power of the storm, the Balor's battle prowess is fueled by hatred and rage. It channels this demonic fury into its death throes, falling within a blast of fire that can destroy even the hardiest foes. So you're gonna have to think about that. Now here's the thing you know about Balors: when you strike them down, they explode.
oh
Shit.
no.
So you are gonna have to come up with a strategy to handle that.
I turn and shout at everybody else. I'm like, this is gonna suck, y'all. Be careful how we kill it. It's gonna explode upon death.
It does not have any weaknesses, although you know that it does not take damage to fire, because obviously it doesn't, and also it cannot be poisoned. Cold and lightning are also probably a no-go. Next up in the order, actually, is Duke Portyr. He is going to scan the battlefield. He is just as surprised as everyone else is by this sudden charge of the army. He is going to fight his way through the already spreading chaos and come to the edge of this large arena that the Balor has cleared in the center of the fighting, and his eyes are going to lock on Salvador. He says, I might have known, Salvador. And Salvador doesn't answer. Qatar, you are first up in the order.
Wow, okay. He's going to Air Elemental, because that seems like a good thing to do.
Okay. Are you going to attack on this turn?
He is gonna try.
The first one doesn't hit, the second one does.
Alright, so that's 14 bludgeoning damage.
Next up in the order is Ariazis.
So Ariazis feels like she's in a nightmare. She's like, alright, well, that looks bad, and the only radiant spell I have is Moonbeam, so that's probably a good thing to try. She's gonna cast at level 6. Alright,
Okay.
so that-
He has a plus 12 to con saves.
I hate that. Right, exactly.
A 21 is probably... But it's still half damage.
Right.
Next up, it's Selwyn.
I'm going to cast Psionic Blast.
Oh ho! Qu'est-ce que c'est?
This is from Unearthed Arcana. You unleash a destructive wave of mental power in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 5d8 force damage and is pushed 20 feet directly away from you and is knocked prone.
That's not gonna do it.
Nope.
So here's how I picture this. In a move that is honestly kind of badass, Selwyn throws out this huge psionic wave of energy. The Balor takes it full force and screams and falls backward and like crushes several soldiers as it falls. But Duke Portyr, in this truly badass move, just kind of flicks his wrist and this holy shield flashes in front of him and he like manages to stand his ground.
That's pretty cool.
Kim.
Let's go ahead and roll
"Hey, that's my
damage.
thing."
Yep.
Next up in the order is Escher. Escher is like, well, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm in any fit state to be actually doing anything, but you know what? I do enjoy killing evil things that deserve to be killed. He is going to target... Harm is a pretty good spell, but it requires a con save. And if he uses it on Porter, Porter's for sure gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's half damage if he doesn't hit. Okay, so let's go with that. So let's have the Balor make a con save. But that's still 76 damage. Takes 23 points of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
And that's only half of what's normal damage. Next up in the order is Salvador. Y'all, I hate to say it, but seeing his father after all this time is not emotionally good for him.
No.
Yes.
He is going to race forward and engage his father in melee combat with Smoke and Storm.
No!
So he goes at his father with these twin sickles. The first one catches on Porter's blade. The second one cuts hard into his side with a burst of holy magic. And Salvador is screaming the entire time. He deals 14 points of damage to him. Next up in the order, Ember.
Ember looks at the Porter situation, and who's near me?
Pretty much everyone except Salvador and the Balor, who
Okay.
just went forward several
I
paces.
turn around, I hiss, and I like, do not let the kid kill his father.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Duh.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the giant fiend. And he casts Divine Smite and runs towards it full on.
Hell yeah! Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna roll my second attack.
Oh,
that's
are you
right.
gonna roll your second attack? Are you gonna?
Yeah. Is it 39 hit?
No, it doesn't actually.
No! That's my second attack.
It's not dead. Let's just put it
Okay.
that way. It's not dead.
Okay.
But you are now
I
the
like-
biggest target on the battlefield.
Yeah, I figured. So I'm like circling out to the outside and trying to draw its attention.
Nyla is up next.
You know what she's gonna do? She's gonna head over towards Porter.
Okay. Try
That's
to
a-
insert
smarter,
something.
yeah.
Like put like a maybe cover Sal up in a cloak and just
Yeah.
be like, down you go.
Yep.
Like, and 99.
Drist is up next. Drist is gonna fucking fire arrows at the giant demon. That's a hit. That is not a hit, so that's 2d8 plus 4 plus 2d8 cool. He fires an arrow straight into its open mouth. It screams and takes 15 points of damage. Next up in the order is the Bakunawa.
Level 6 Sunbeam. Alright. God, it's a con save. Whatever.
Well, it's half damage, right?
Yes, it is. So they're like, I did it. I did a hit, and I didn't explode it.
It's the Balor's
Yay.
turn. The Balor is pretty pissed off.
Yep.
I bet, yeah.
It's mostly pissed off at Ember.
Yep.
Right. Who did
Uh-huh.
the whole big smash?
Ember, I want you to brace every butt cheek that you have.
Excellent.
Uh-oh.
It has a plus 14 on each of its attacks.
Smash it.
That's
Yeah, it's definitely a hit.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit. Okay, so this is going to be a whole lot of damage. It comes down at you with its long sword first and tries to cut you in half. Let's see how well that works. So that's just the sword.
Okay.
And then it is going to go at you with the whip made of fire and try to ensnare you when it fails to cut you in half. That's a total of, oh my god, that's a total of 55 points of damage, and make a strength saving
Yep.
throw.
Oh!
Natural 20!
Nice. Nice.
He tries to ensnare you with his whip, Ember, but you just bust out of it like some sort of very weird and specific commercial for something.
That's its face. It's like, oh.
But you still did take 55 points of damage.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely not doing well, but I definitely also roar in its face. Like,
Okay.
Escher in the back like, that's my boo! Get it, babe!
Nice.
Duke Portyr is up next. He is going to answer Salvador's attacks in kind with a longsword swipe. 23 is a hit. Salvador takes 12. He has got multi-attack. No, actually, that doesn't hit. Okay.
oh, what?
So no, he has a 16 AC when he's dual wielding his sickles. He takes a longsword blow from his father. Next up in the order is Qatar.
Sure. Let's try to fling Duke Porter away. He's like, all right, I will leave this thing to Ember. Looks like he's got it. Right, so he's gonna whirlwind. Must make a strength saving throw, so Porter, get on that.
What is Porter's strength save? Nope.
Oh, DC 13, so he misses. He fails, so
oh, wow.
takes
Just barely.
15 bludgeoning damage and is flung 20 feet away.
He is flung backward, and you immediately lose sight of him because you're standing at the edge of a ring. And he goes flying into an army, and you don't know where he is.
Oh, no.
Next up, Ariazes.
Since I heard some whispers about Wave Crash, perhaps it might be a good thing to do. So that is what she's gonna do.
So this enormous wall of water comes crashing out from Ariazes as a point of origin, and it deftly weaves around everyone that she does not want to hit. Everyone else, though, including multiple soldiers, the Balor, and just, various wildlife, probably, get crushed under this unbelievable torrent. Nope.
Oh,
That's a really good roll, but that is not good enough.
Right.
So he gets hit with this basically tidal wave and goes flying back and takes 8d6 bludgeoning damage, and he gets thrown back 30 paces. That sure is a whole lot, and it's really, really, really getting low. It's really getting low. Selwyn, you have one target, and he just got swept 30 feet further away from you.
Cool.
By the way, all the soldiers are screaming as they're being swept out to sea.
Invalid.
right.
Sea
Like-
that came out of fucking nowhere.
Right. Ariazes is like the avatar of the ocean.
How far away is it?
It's about 50 feet away now.
Okay. God. I don't want to explode it.
Why not?
That's why we pushed
It's
it
50
away.
feet
Collateral
away.
damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think exploding it now is a great idea.
50
I
feet
think it's
away.
much better than what I would be
Right.
trying to do.
That's why it was pushed away, so it can explode further away from us.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna do Psionic Blast again. So make a Dex save.
It rolled an
Yep.
11.
Nope. And I am going to make this a critical by lofting up my spell focus. Alas, poor Yorick Soil.
Here's what happens. This wall of water comes crashing out from Ariazes in all directions, and Selwyn rushes forward, fording through the water as Moses parts the Red Sea. She casts a psionic blast, and the Balor explodes into a shower of fire in all directions, which are immediately quenched by the water that is constricting it. The battle turns really, really quickly after that. You know, half of the army around Ariazes gets swept away into a nearby forest, and Duke Portyr is the only one standing within about 100 feet in any direction. There are still some lingering battles going on behind you, but they are swiftly put down. And then Duke Portyr looks up from where he had fallen onto his knees. What do you do with him?
Tackle Sal.
I was like, who's closer?
Nyla tackles Sal,
Yep.
which is a
there-
good thing because Salvador looked like he was ready to fucking finish him off.
Yeah, Nyla just goes for his fucking knees. Also, she has blur, and presumably Sal doesn't have true sight, so...
Sal is tackled to the floor, and Duke Portyr stands up. His hands are still glowing with holy magic, but he's starting to realize that he's a little outnumbered right now. So who
You're
wants...
like circling him, like Ember's got like the lightsaber out.
Oh yeah. Portyr comes out of his like swirly form and is like,
So you're all circled around Duke Portyr, who is looking like a cornered animal. Normally clad like resplendently with shining silver armor, now he looks feral and trapped and angry, and he says, "So what are you going to do with me then?"
Ember spits on the ground and looks at him and goes,
Probably some blood in the spit, a little bit.
"Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely. It was not a great hit. The whole thing being, hit with giant, massive demon, not great." So he like looks up at him and he goes, "Why, we're gonna use you to get the final artifact."
Drist goes, actually no, Elminster goes over, who had sat out that battle because he's old and he doesn't feel like it. Elminster appears from somewhere, and rips something off of his hip. It looked like, Ember, you recognize it immediately as a holy flask. I told you about holy flasks, right?
Yes.
Paladins normally use them, they fill them with water, the water becomes holy. They're one-trick ponies. But this one does look particularly ornate. And Elminster's like, very well disguised. And then he opens it up and he shakes out, and there's like a strip of flesh that falls out, still kind of dry and desiccated.
Oh.
And also some sort of magic flies out of it, and he's like, there we go. And then he screws the lid back on. He says, "Shall we politely take the fortress now?" You are pretty close to the fortress. You managed to ambush them less than 2 miles away from where you know the fortress is.
Excellent.
politely and take a fortress. I don't think that's possible, but yeah, let's do that.
He says, well, now that we have Duke Portyr here...
Yeah. I think we
That's
hold
true.
the cards.
Our little friend here can just walk us in and out.
Yeah, Drist goes up behind him and he says, nothing personal. And I don't know why I feel the need to clarify this, but it's not a sex thing. Your second in command, like as he's like tying up Duke Portyr, like putting his eyes on him, your second in command stared at me the whole time like it was a sex thing, and it's not. And I really want to make that super crystal clear. Everything I've heard about you makes you sound like an absolute dick.
This is the second person you've tied up, Dritz. Good job.
I'm having a kind of a weird week, Drist says.
Welcome to the
trust
family.
me.
You make it out to the fortress where you can see the patrol like going back and forth across the battlements. And they see you coming, and for a second they're blowing horns and everything. Does anyone want to step forward and like give them the good news?
Okay.
The fortress is still technically under the command of Lord Portyr, who is now bound up behind you, being dragged along like an angry dog. Okay, I'll go.
I feel like this is time to pull like some Jaime Lannister shit and just like shove him out in front of everybody and say, "Hey, open the gates."
I think that's what happens. I think Selwyn is the first one who kind of shoves Lord Portyr forward and is like, "Go on, address them." And then Salvador takes the initiative, who has been desperately trying not to talk or look at his father this entire time. He steps forward and he says, "As the last heir and scion of House Portyr, I command you to yield." And the soldiers are kind of looking between each other, like, oh shit. Like, they can see that Duke Portyr's right there. He has been bound and gagged, and like, what are they gonna do? Say no? There's an army at their doorstep.
Go
Like,
home.
we could do this the easy way or the hard way, soldiers. And they choose the easy way, and after a couple minutes, the gate falls open, and you, mostly bloodlessly, have taken the fortress.
Excellent. I feel like as Ever walks in, he's like clapping enemy soldiers in the back and being like, good you've joined the right cause there, son. Good job.
And meanwhile, Duke Portyr in the back just growling. Oh, he looks pissed. He looks angry. And Salvador has been trying not to look at him this whole time, but he knows exactly where he has to go. And he's really, like, his face is sort of set and cold. Like, he knows he's been marching to his death this entire time, but now he's really starting to feel it. You know, like, he knows that door is right there. And he leads the vanguard down and down through the fortress, down the steps, through the long, long tunnel, with the enemy soldiers lining up against the walls, contrite and very, very aware that they are now basically political prisoners until they decide to turn code or something. You get to the familiar, enormous double doors. And Salvador stares up at them in sort of nauseous silence. He looks at Elminster. He says, Could you go get my great aunt? And Elminster gently inclines his head and turns and goes to find her. And Salvador turns back and looks at Duke Portyr, and he says, well, you ready to do this? And Duke Portyr says, you're going through with the ritual? And he says, I can't let Bashaba get to whatever's inside that door, so... Duke Portyr is silent for a while, and he says, how unsurprisingly self-sacrificing of you. And Sal backhands him.
Ooh, yes!
He says, a word of advice, Father? Keep your fucking mouth shut. You're not the one in control anymore.
Oh, Lord.
Any last-minute things you want to talk about? Well, Elminster is going to fetch, Lizette Porter?
I think...
Qatar feels like he needs to hold Sal's hand, his face, at least touch him.
Qatar goes over, tries to touch his hand, maybe?
Yeah, there we go.
He smiles at you, it doesn't reach his eyes. The smile does not reach his eyes. But he's trying his best to smile at you, and he says, hey, it's okay. I'm fine, don't worry about it. And hey, maybe when this is all over, and he kind of jerks his head over at Drist, who's barking orders at some of the soldiers to, don't just stand there, do something! Let everyone know what's happened, you know.
Drist is having a panic attack.
He's had a bad week.
He's had a very bad week. No, Drist is in the back barking at some of the soldiers, you know, clear out, spread the word, tell them what's happened here. The fortress is taken.
I think Nyla steps forward and she's looking around, not at Sal, but she's looking around at Aziz and Selway and everybody else, and she's like, okay, God, this can't be it. This can't be, we're not just gonna let Sal die.
Nyla, it's okay. I've had a long time to think about it, okay? It's all gonna be fine. It's going to be fine. She's like tears like running down her face, and she's like, Salvador pulls the seal of House Porter off of his neck, and he hands it to her.
Oh,
there has to be something.
He says, any ideas? Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. Listen, I love you all and I appreciate you all so much, but I think it's pretty clear that it's over now, okay?
And Selwyn just, tackles him in a hug.
He hugs you back.
Nyla joins.
Yeah. Ariaziz joins too.
He says, I want you to know that if I had to go back, I wouldn't change a fucking thing, okay?
I wouldn't either. Oh, Sal Porter, you're the best thing that's ever happened to us.
And I'm sorry we weren't better friends to you, and that it
Don't
has
you
to
dare
end this
say
way.
that! Don't you dare say that! You're my best friends. I don't know what my life would be if I hadn't found you all those months ago, okay? I don't regret anything. There have been bumps along the road, but that's just made the good parts sweeter.
You've changed my life. You've changed all... well, I don't know about you guys. Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
You've changed all of our lives.
Of course, Nyla.
He is smiling, and he's really, really trying hard to keep it together. You can see it all over his face. Yeah. And he says...
Qatar's waiting for all of you to move, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you interrupted. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, they do... I feel like they do have first dibs at hugs.
Right, that's true, they do.
But yeah, eventually the group hug does end, and Salvador looks back at Qatar, he's kind of dreading this, but he also really wants to hug him as well, you know? It's a duality.
It is a duality, and Qatar kisses him.
Sal tries to keep it brief, because if he lets it go on too long, he's absolutely going to cry. A couple minutes later, you can hear Elminster delicately clear his throat from behind. And Lisette Porter, a great deal less delicate, says, "Well, let's get this over with. Who's ready for death?"
None
Who
of
let
us.
who let him out of? Oh Jesus!
From everything you know about the door, Selwyn, you know that you have to spill the lifeblood of 3 of the line into the door. There are 3 distinct holes. You think the easiest way to do that would be a standard cut down the arm on each, and then insert it into it to let the magic begin.
Yep.
Salvador volunteers to do the cutting on his father.
I mean, valid.
He selflessly volunteers. He uses the end of his sickle, pulls his father's gauntlet off, and he says, "At least the last thing you do in this life will be good for something." And then he kind of viciously slices down his arm. He does the same for his own, and then hands it to Lynette, who's like, "Do you want me to do it for you?" And she takes it from him. She's like, "I'm very old, and I don't have time for this bullshit." Salvador heads to the door. He looks back at all of you, and he opens his mouth like he wants to say something, then just closes it like he doesn't know what to say, and he puts his arm inside. It immediately starts to glow white. Lisette puts her hand inside, it glows white as well, and Duke Portyr is sort of forcibly, like, you've got a soldier, like, straight behind, like, screwing his arm behind his back, like, put it, go, do it.
Yeah.
There is a cacophony of magic that starts very, very soft and rises rapidly. You can see light coming through the closed doors. Every single gem on its surface all starts to light up at once. There is a hum that gets louder and louder underneath of it all. And you can tell there is power radiating out from it. Salvador and Lisette and the Duke all start to scream all at once. The power comes out like fire and thunder from a clear day. It hits all of you at once. Every single person, every single character has hit level 20.
What?
Whoa. The power hits you hard and you can feel it. You can feel it seeping into your bones. You are all raised up to level 20. Selwyn, for you, mechanically, that means you gain 7 levels. You do with them what you wish.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! Well, that's gonna take some homework.
The light gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and then the screaming stops. And when your eyes readjust, the doors are open, and Salvador and Lisette and Duke Portyr are dead. Hey friends, it's your favorite DM, Tessa Crowley. Thanks for listening. If you can't wait for the next episode, good news! You can join our Discord server to listen to episodes in pre-release, chat with me and the other failers, and even listen live to episodes as we record them. Check it out at bit.ly/cfcdiscord. You can get information on the characters, players, and links to social media on our website, critfailclub.com. Critfail Club doesn't advertise at all. We rely entirely on word of mouth. So if you like our show, share it with a friend or on social media. We can't do it without you. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Okay, so I am willing to believe that you can be the form of a raven, like that's fine, but in order to cast magic, you need to be able to use verbal somatic components, which I don't think you can do as a raven. Ravens cannot talk, and they cannot use their little bird paws to cast magic. Bird paws? Is that what I said?
No. I was like, what the hell?
Excuse me, I have to go throw myself into the sea. Hang on.
Like, what? They have claws, not paws. I hate
just want
birds and
somebody
I
to
know
draw
this.
some bird paws now. Like,
Oh no, please
don't.
no.